It's May 12, 2017, just after 8 a.m. London. A nurse at the National Health Service logs in for her morning shift, expecting a blur of patient check-ins, but her screen freezes. Oops, your files have been encrypted. Pay $300 in Bitcoin or lose everything. Confusion erupts into panic. Phones ring. Monitors die. Surgeons are left helpless. Ambulances are rerouted. Heart patients wait in limbo, their life-saving operations canceled. Across the world, chaos ripples. Spain's biggest phone company shuts down. German trains stop dead. U.S. FedEx depots are crippled. And factories from Australia to South Korea grind to a halt. By noon, hundreds of thousands of computers in over 150 countries are locked down. Hospital records, business deals, decades of work, all held for ransom by unknown hands. The world is in the grip of WannaCry, a word that becomes global shorthand for cyber terror. In cybersecurity war rooms from London to Washington, investigators race for answers. Who could pull this off? Who would dare? Pyongyang, North Korea, years before. Behind shuttered windows in a cold, crowded city, a boy named Park Jin Hyok sits in a silent classroom, his notebook full of numbers and tiny doodled circuit diagrams. He's different, quieter, sharper, always fixing radios or helping teachers debug an old-school computer. In North Korea, being noticed brings both privilege and risk. Park's talent is flagged early, and by his teens, he's sent off to Kimchik University of Technology, the best technical school in Pyongyang. His parents, proud but worried, know this is both an honor and a sentence. In a country like theirs, every success or slip can change a family's fate. At Kimchik, Park learns more than math and code. He's trained to break into programs, erase his digital footprints, and trust no one. The atmosphere is tense. Friendships are cautious. Every student knows the state is always watching, and only the useful rise. One day, Park is tapped again, this time for something even more secret. He tries to act calm, but his nerves jangle. He tells himself, work hard, don't make mistakes, protect your family. Dalian, China, early 2010s. Glittering lights, city noise, street markets. Dalian is a world away from slow, gray Pyongyang. Here, Park is officially a software developer at Chosun Expo Joint Venture, a company making apps and games. In truth, the office is a front. Each employee keeps two lives. By day, Park attends meetings and fixes bugs. By night, he joins a handful of North Korean programmers in a locked back room, drawing the blackout shades and booting up encrypted laptops. This is where the real work begins. Writing fake emails that look like they're from trusted coworkers, a tactic to trick insiders into opening attachments or clicking dangerous links. Crafting malicious programs that, when opened, silently steal secrets or give outsiders control of a target system. Using tricks to hide where the attacks are coming from. Bouncing connections through hacked computers around the world. Park's language skills improve. He learns just enough Mandarin to buy street food and snatches of Russian and English from online forums and hacking guides. He's often lonely and anxious. Every move is tracked by North Korean minders. Every phone call home is measured. Every day abroad, a reminder to keep his head down. Sometimes he walks along Dalian's waterfront, pretending for a moment that he's just another anonymous software engineer free to dream. But at night, guilt and fear creep in. You have a job to do, he whispers to himself. Keep your parents safe. Don't attract attention. North Korea's web of cyber operations stretches much farther than most people realize. It's a clandestine network that reaches across continents, from border towns in China to offices in Malaysia, India, and Belarus. Bureau 121, the regime's infamous cyber division, handpicks gifted children from schools, sending them to top universities for years of high-pressure, high-stakes training. Once prepared, teams like Park's are dispatched around the world. They hide in the traffic of foreign internet providers and blend behind the walls of ordinary companies, tech startups, gaming firms, or supposedly legitimate IT consultancies. These front companies don't just provide cover. They also give hackers like Park access to better technology, faster internet, and plausible identities. In the digital age, North Korea leverages this dispersal for maximum effect. Each small group operates semi-independently, sometimes with only 5 or 6 hackers per cell. But their reach is immense. They bounce their connections through servers in multiple countries, masking origins, making every digital trace a dead end. For Western intelligence, pinning down North Korea's cyber army is like chasing shadows across the globe. This is how a nation with almost no global footprint can strike fear into the heart of the world's biggest economies. Western investigators call them the Lazarus Group, an elite hacking team within Bureau 121, North Korea's feared cyber war division. Inside, nobody uses real names. On the outside, they're known by code names and online aliases. Each team member is a specialist. Park excels at social engineering, sending carefully crafted fake emails that trick people into trusting a malicious link or document. These carry out attacks not with brute force, but with the human touch, posing as a bank manager, a Hollywood recruiter, or an IT help desk. Others on the team write code that can secretly steal passwords, erase digital tracks, or quietly move stolen money between accounts, covering their trail with layers of secrecy. Everyone is pushed hard. The regime wants more money, more chaos, more secrets. Each successful attack brings small perks: a better apartment, occasional fresh fruit, a rare coffee. But the cost is felt in stress and exhaustion. If you slip up, the whole weight of the regime comes down on you. Park tries not to think about that. He keeps his circle tight and his worries private. Los Angeles, 2014. Sony Pictures preps a movie, The Interview, a comedy that pokes fun at Kim Jong-un. In Dalian, Park's team watches. They strike with a well-timed wave of targeted fake emails. Employees trust them. They shouldn't. Suddenly, in Sony's offices, chaos erupts. Computers wiped. Confidential emails and unreleased films spill online. Monitors flash a grinning red skeleton and a single message: "We've obtained all your secrets." Sony loses $100 million. Personal emails of Hollywood's biggest names are exposed. The FBI seeks evidence of North Korea's hand all over the attack: familiar coding styles, strange language quirks, and attacks launched from computers in China. For a brief moment, Park feels a rush. His work has shaken the world. But reading the leaked emails, seeing stunned Sony staff on the news, he feels a twinge of regret. These are real people, he thinks. But the regime is proud. You've shown the Americans what we're capable of. There is no space for doubt. Success is survival. Dhaka, February 4, 2016. Park's team quietly slips into the Bangladesh Central Bank's computer network thanks to a fake email that lures insiders into opening a booby-trapped document. Once inside, they watch and wait. then create fraudulent money transfer requests totaling nearly $1 billion. A simple typo, writing "foundation" instead of "foundation," alerts a cautious banker. Most of the transfers are stopped, but $81 million escapes, quickly sent through layers of shell accounts and laundered via Manila casinos. Park's handlers celebrate. The funds support weapons programs, luxury goods, even the regime's daily rations. To Park, it's a technical victory. But as he watches TV news of bewildered bank tellers and ruined families, he feels a familiar discomfort. He tells himself, everyone is just doing their job. This is just business. No one gets hurt directly. But the truth is harder to ignore with every success. May 2017, the ransomware pandemic. Using code originally created by the NSA and leaked by a shadowy group, Park's team releases a worm that quickly spreads without human help. It hunts for a hidden weakness in Microsoft Windows, a flaw that lets it sneak between computers over regular company networks. When it finds a vulnerable computer, it locks every file, leaving behind its ransom note. Hospitals are paralyzed. Ambulances can't respond. Auto plants and train lines grind to a halt. The NHS in the UK alone loses over $100 million as thousands of appointments and surgeries are cancelled. The world scrambles. A British cybersecurity researcher named Marcus Hutchins stumbles on an unregistered domain, a single line of code in the malware. On a whim, he buys the domain and accidentally activates a kill switch. The worm dies out. Park, back in North Korea, reads the headlines in stunned silence. Ransomware stopped by accident. Relief mixed with anxiety. If the kill switch hadn't been found, how much more damage could it have done, he wonders. Was this really worth it? Once again, the regime praises him, but the faces of ordinary victims stick with him. How many people's lives did we shatter, he thinks late at night. In the attack's aftermath, global investigators begin working around the clock to unravel who was behind the chaos. They find that the emails used to trick victims seem to trace back to accounts operating out of China. But the digital fingerprints tell another story. When analysts examined the deeper layers of metadata, they discovered those accounts had been set up in Korea's time zone. As they shifted through the forensic evidence, teams discovered even more clues, recurring traces of Korean alphabet embedded in files, and unique quirks in the code that perfectly matched those used in previous attacks on Sony Pictures and the Bangladesh bank. A pattern takes shape. The investigators see the same elaborate fake emails, all designed to fool insiders into clicking dangerous links or opening carefully disguised attachments. They notice the same personal touch in the coding style and a consistent use of digital camouflage. Traffic bouncing through a web of compromised computers in multiple countries. Each step designed to muddy the trail and hide where the attack really began. Slowly, this mountain of evidence crystallizes into a single undeniable thread, connecting some of the biggest cyber attacks of the decade. The line points again and again to one invisible architect lurking in the shadows. September 6, 2018, Washington, D.C. The U.S. Department of Justice unseals a 179-page indictment. For the first time, a real name is given to the global attacks. Park Jin Hyok, wanted for conspiracy to commit computer fraud and wire fraud. Aliases: Jin Hyok Park, Park Jin Hyok, Park Kwang Jin. Place of birth: North Korea, but seen in China and linked to code in multiple languages. The FBI posts his wanted poster. The U.S. Treasury freezes his assets and blacklists Chosun Expo and every company linked to Park. To the world, Park is now a cyber supervillain. To North Korea, He's a valuable but expendable asset. For Park, it's a shock. His face flashes on news channels, his life story dissected by people he's never met. He feels both pride at having bested the world's biggest powers and fear that he's now as much a liability as an asset to his own government. Back in Pyongyang, Park's world is both privileged and precarious. He lives better than most North Koreans. More food, a private apartment, and even rare glimpses of the outside world. But the paranoia is crushing. Every coder in Bureau 121 faces quotas. If you miss targets, whether stealing money or breaking into a company, you risk demotion or worse. Park coaches new hackers, telling them, don't be reckless. One mistake and you could disappear. He teaches them to use fake emails that mimic business contacts and to cover their tracks with tactics like hopping their web traffic through hacked computers worldwide. Still, Park wonders at night if the world really sees him as he is, a man made into a weapon, sometimes proud, often scared, always trapped. He knows that in North Korea, talent is only valued as long as it produces results. Even now, Park's digital fingerprints show up in new attacks, cryptocurrency heists, hospital hacks during COVID, attacks on American arms makers. North Korea's hacking machine keeps evolving. For the regime in Pyongyang, hackers aren't just criminals. They're a source of hard currency, bargaining chips at the global table, and levers for retaliation on the world stage. Every successful breach delivers not just money or secrets, but also propaganda victories, proof to the North Korean public that their tiny nation can humble giants. This is why, even after public indictments and international sanctions, the Lazarus group just grows more sophisticated. They move to new front companies, create new fake identities, and keep finding new loopholes in global cybersecurity. The world's response is constant, tightening defenses, hunting for signatures, forming alliances, but the digital battlefield expands faster than any border can. Park Jin Hyok's story is that of a boy praised for his mind, then shaped by fear and national need into a digital phantom. He became a hacker not for riches or fame, but because his country noticed his talent and used it as a weapon. His technical skills, once a way to escape poverty, became the tools of international extortion, espionage, and war. His rewards were always conditional. His failures would never be forgiven. Sometimes Park wonders what his life might have been if he'd been born somewhere else. He knows he's changed the world, for better or worse. He knows, too, with every passing year, his own country may erase him as easily as it erases his trail online. In the shadow war of the 21st century, Park Jin Hyok is both a symbol and a cautionary tale. His actions reveal just how thin the line is between ordinary people and extraordinary consequence. In an era where one keyboard can shift the balance of power, the true legacy of the digital phantom isn't just in the billions lost or secrets stolen, but in how the world has learned to fight new wars in silence, in shadows, and in code. For more stories about the cyber underworld, subscribe now. Because in cyberspace, the phantoms are always one step ahead.